Okay, it should be live on YouTube now. Go ahead and check it. Testing. So the music's probably a bit loud. What's your volume at right now? Okay, it should be loud. Oh, it's at max volume. I'm still going to turn it down a little bit. Let's see how that works. Testing. So the music's probably a bit loud. What's your volume? Oh, it's at max volume. All right, let me turn it down a little bit. How many are there? Is there anybody in the stream yet? Just a couple. Okay, you're one of the two, so that's fine. I'll make the announcement in just a sec.
3 watching.
Oh my God, there's 3 people watching. It's so over. My career is fucking. I'm cooked. Okay, the music still seems way loud. Why is it so fucking loud? Oh wait, it's because it is capturing from the wrong fucking screen. XD. Oh my God, there's 3 people watching. It's so over. 6 people? Holy shit. How's everybody doing today? We are just testing some new things for the stream. Bear with us. All right, that's too low. So we're gonna go like right there. 6 people? Holy shit. How's everybody doing today? We are just testing some new things for the stream. Bear with us. Okay, and then I'll just keep this open for the chat window. All right, that's too low. Right, where's that? So we're gonna go like right there. Wait, where is the chat window? Do I have to do that? Okay, yeah, no, that doesn't work. Okay, and now I will share the stream on Telegram. What time is it? Okay, we still got 10 minutes. We're good. Make this as small as possible. Okay, you can go ahead and cut audio on your machine, and we can get rolling in just a sec. Let's go. Boom. Perfect. Okay. All right. I think we're ready. So I'm not going to start the presentation until 5 o'clock. So if anybody has questions, feel free to ask in the chat. Today's live stream is going to be all about AI and the relationship between AI and OnlyFans management. And I've got my video editor slash videographer slash right-hand man, Hugo. What did you decide your name was?
Yeah, we did
Hugo? Okay.
Wait, actually?
Hugo Balls.
Yo,
Yeah, Hugo Balls.
You think Hugo or Vincent?
Vincent. He's decided his name is Vincent. What do you got? Let's vote on my video editor's name. Is it Hugo or Vincent? This is going to be his name for the rest of his life now, so choose wisely. For all 9 people that are watching, let's vote Hugo or Vincent. You don't get a name. Nobody wants to give you a name, dude. You're fucked. You're absolutely fucking cooked.
Fuck.
While we're waiting, I am curious for the people that are watching right now, how many of you guys have experimented with AI creative or AI creators, AI chatting tools, any like AI generated content? Who right now in the chat is currently using AI tools in some capacity for OnlyFans? I am real. Brian Seidel, the poker player. There's no shot. Oh, wait a minute. I know. Okay, I know Brian. Yeah. It's me, dude. I promise it's me. Brian is having an existential crisis right now. He's unsure of what to believe anymore. I don't blame him for some of the reasons that I'm going to get into in this presentation. I think AI has reached an inflection point where the the quality of AI outputs is now going to reach parity and soon exceed parity of people's expectations for content quality, for writing quality, for pretty much anything that a human can do. AI is very close to being better at just about everything. So it's not an AI stream, guys. I promise. This is my real voice. Maybe I'll do. I should do like the VTuber thing. I should just be an anime girl. We got to figure that shit out in Higgsfield, dude. I think that there's like all of the live stream overlays that I've seen, like the face swap live stream shit that I've seen, is like really laggy and bad. If somebody knows a good face swap live streaming tool, let me know. That isn't. I don't want to be a VTuber. Please don't make me be a VTuber, guys. Don't make me do it. It's just a pain. The only reason that I don't just have a camera running right now is because wearing the mask honestly, just wearing the mask in general kind of sucks. It's very hot and sweaty. The beads are like they're like these little like epoxy jewels, and the condensation from my breath gets on the back of them, and then it just feels like my face is inside of a rainforest. So that is why I do the live streams without a camera. All right, we've got 6 minutes to start. So I'll ask again now that we have a few more people in the chat. Who in here is currently experimenting with AI OnlyFans, whether that's AI creators, AI-generated content, hybrid models? How are you guys using AI in your OnlyFans agency or your business in general? Just curious about people's level of familiarity with some of this tech. Because my baseline assumption is that like OnlyFans management in general, adult in general, tends to be like early adopters of technology. So I tend to think that most people are probably fairly knowledgeable about the tools that are available. But usually my assumptions about people's competence or knowledge are incorrect. So feel free to correct me. And once again, we're just waiting for the next 5 minutes for the stream to actually start. I like to start early to make sure that everything's good. Can everybody hear my voice clearly? Is the music too loud? Is the music audible at all? Editing creators' bodies with AI tools. So Quame1292, when you say editing creators' bodies, is that like still photo editing? Are you doing video editing and like, accentuating curves, or what exactly does that mean? Mr. Bruto. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, that's it. Thank you. Gen AI usage, not to create content, yes, to operations management. In what ways are you using it for ops management right now? I think that honestly, the creative piece is the hardest to integrate and automate. I think that we're going to have solutions. I'm actually working on a solution right now for an internal solution for automated AI content production. I'm testing out like thumbnails, so trying to get a consistent thumbnail style that can be AI produced. Some of you guys have probably seen I changed the branding on the channel, and so now all of my old thumbnails kind of are completely misaligned with the aesthetics of the brand. So, but also going back through and recreating 35 thumbnails is very tedious and not something that I'm particularly excited about doing. So hopefully we'll have a solution there soon. Fuck me, it's hot in here, dude. Gotta put the fan on. Hopefully it doesn't fuck up the mic. Are you warm?
Huh?
Are you warm?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, 3 more minutes. 3 more minutes. Anybody that's in the chat right now, what are you guys hoping to, just curious, what are you guys hoping to get out of this? Like what's something that you want to learn about AI applications, or like what's a way that you want to integrate it into your business that you haven't figured out how yet? Like what are you hoping to get out of this stream? And also everybody that is in the stream, please hit that like button. Smash that motherfucking like button. I actually don't know what I'm pretty sure it helps, it increases the priority of the stream so that more people see it. So go ahead and smash that for me real quick. Do a quick smash, just a quick one. Doesn't cost anything, guys. I'm begging for a thumbs up. I'm begging for your approval, please. Heart react. And someone just left the stream.
Yo, you asked
Hell
me,
yeah.
like, I'm going.
Hell yeah. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, you can't hear the fan. It sounds fine.
Okay, cool. All right, 2 more minutes. I'm kind of curious what the like general live stream. Do you think most people just put this on like in the background, or because there's like maybe like 10 people in the live stream who are like chatting throughout the entire thing, but I don't really. I'm new to live streaming, and I also don't consume live streamed content. So it's interesting to me, like just starting to do this and figuring it out from first principles. Like long form video is pretty straightforward. You make the video, and then people either interact with it or they don't. But live is like an inherently interactive medium. Generally, just have a limited knowledge of what people in this industry are using it for and how. Well, I will definitely be covering that. I'll be talking mostly. Actually, that's not even true. I'm going to be talking about a pretty broad spectrum of use cases. So, also, yes, it's in the background because I always have 400 things to do. Brian, I'm telling you, get on OpenClaw. You will that 400 things to do list. I'm not shitting you. I take a walk with my dog every morning, like a 30-minute walk. I turned on a voice record. I use a software called Otter.ai to record my voice and just do like a morning brain dump. So I did my morning brain dump, and then I uploaded the transcript into OpenClaw this morning, and by the time I finished eating breakfast, it had done everything that I said in 30 minutes straight of talking. It got like a week, maybe 2 weeks worth of work done. All of the stuff is like relatively like high leverage stuff that I just don't personally have time to do because I'm focused on creative work. So whatever is in your business that like you don't feel that you're able to allocate a sufficient amount of time to, especially because I guess I won't say in the chat, but I know you're a busy guy. I know you have other non-work obligations. So this has been an absolute godsend. I just spent the entire weekend like installing and playing with it, and it's exactly what I've been looking for. And the things that it is capable of doing and teaching itself iteratively without additional instruction is absolutely fucking nuts. So TG, oh no, you got TG banned, so I can't use the botfather. Oh, spam limited. Okay. Honestly, I have the botfather thing. Just use WhatsApp if you can't. Just like literally just create a WhatsApp account and use WhatsApp to interact with it if you want to. I just leave the instance open on my, I have a computer that is only used for OpenClaw, and I just leave the instance open and communicate with it via WhatsApp when I'm out of the house. Okay, it's 5 o'clock, so the stream is officially started. I do have Claude on my Mac. I also have Codex. I also have OpenClaw. I have all three, and I use all three. I want to make something really clear before we start this. I'm not technical at all. I've written a few lines of code in my life. It's something that I tried to learn, but it's not something that I've ever dedicated any amount of time to. And so these tools are insane force multipliers, even if you are completely non-technical. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and start the live stream. We've got 17 people in here, and it is 5 o'clock. So I wanted to try something a little bit different today. For those of you who have been in my live streams before, it's mostly like Q&A or like Instagram review. Today I'm going to be doing like an actual presentation. So first of all, I've got my videographer and my editor here in the room with me, kind of monitoring the situation, figuring out how we can improve the live stream setup. So everybody say hi to Vincent. Give him a W in the chat if you enjoy my content, because he is the guy who makes it happen. So he is a hugely important member of the team. And I just hired, when did I hire you? Was it
like
October? And radically transformative to the business. A lot of the stuff that I do could not be done without him. So huge props to Vincent. I bet Vincent is hot too. So another quick announcement that I'm going to get into later in the stream. I just rebuilt my entire website. So everything is housed on facelessfrancis.com, including all of my free resources. So if you're interested in consulting, you go to facelessfrancis.com/consulting. If you're interested in early access to the course, just go to facelessfrancis.com. And then if you navigate to the top bar, and I'll show you guys the website later, it's everything that you could possibly need from me. All of it is now housed in one place instead of a bunch of different bullshit Google Forms. So hopefully that will be easier for you guys to navigate. So let me just open up I had the presentation view open here. Give me one sec. Let's minimize you. I have so many windows open right now, it's hiding from me. There it is. Nope, that's not it. Son of a bitch. All right, whatever. We'll just do it. We'll just run it directly from here. So, okay, hopefully everybody can see that. All right, one sec. Just want to make sure we're all good. Okay, so for those of you that are, I assume everybody's here for the same reason, which is to hear me talk about AI. For anybody that doesn't know what's going on, today I am going to be talking about artificial intelligence and OFM. So first, I'm going to be talking about in what ways AI is beneficial to OFM, the basic principles of AI-generated creative and kind of the implications of AI on social media in general, how AI is bad for OnlyFans, and then how you can actually take action on all this information to hopefully make as much money as possible. So we'll start with talking about how AI is good for OFM. And I'm going to keep this part of the conversation mostly about AI OnlyFans creators specifically, not like general applications, although I am going to talk a little bit about that. So first, there are technically two different types of AI creators. You have pure AI creators and you have hybrid. Pure means 100% of the content is artificial intelligence generated. Every photo, every video, every piece of media, all of it is entirely AI generated. So you don't need a model for this at all. You might use a real person as a base for image gen, and but beyond that, it's 100% AI generated. So there's no human in the loop besides the person that is actually prompting the content. And then hybrid is more of like a face swap model. So there's a real human that's making the content and AI is basically painting a new face on top, kind of like motion capture for video games. So the body is real, the movements are real, but it's painting over the identity, I should say, I guess is synthetic. So right now, if you're just getting into things and you already have human models, I would say hybrid is easier to produce decent creative with at the moment. But pure AI is like right on the threshold of basically completely invalidating the need for a human model in the loop at all. And that has some very substantial implications that I'm going to get into in just a second. So tons of extremely valuable use cases for AI in our industry, even beyond creative. I would say most of the benefits of AI for OnlyFans management are going to take place within the next 12 to 24 months, and I think that you should treat it with urgency. So meaning like these are things that you should act very quickly on, and these are tools that you should set aside time and learn how to use in the immediate future. Like this is not something that you want to wait until other people figure it out and then jump on the bandwagon, because at that point it actually probably will be not necessarily too late, but the window of opportunity to make lots of money will be closed relatively shortly. So I'm still very new to like a lot of these tools, but there is a tremendous amount of money to be made by agencies who figure out how to leverage this stuff properly. On a margin basis, incorporating AI into your business, whether that is influencers or just tools in your software stack, is probably as big of an opportunity as just like being in OnlyFans at all during 2019 to 2023, which was like the COVID era kind of gold rush. So again, for reasons that I'm going to explain in a little bit, I don't think that the window of opportunity will be quite as large. Like I don't think you're going to have 4 years to just print money for free. There is a little bit of a creativity layer. There's a little bit of an imagination layer, but right now the money is very real. So let's start with the good stuff. First major benefit of AI is that AI models mostly invalidate the need for human models. So this is the single biggest unlock in all of this for 4 major reasons. One, you have no more rev share agreements. AI influencers don't get rev share. They're not people. They won't quit OnlyFans. They won't leave you for another agency. So this is a way that you can simultaneously de-risk your business and also cut your single largest cost. So kind of insane. Just thinking about it in those terms, huge deal. Models are also typically the biggest bottleneck in content creation. So models get sick, they cancel shoots, they have bad days, they get boyfriends who pressure them to quit. Everybody who's in this business has probably dealt with one or more of those issues at some point. But by systematizing content production with AI, you remove the most unpredictable variable in your entire operation, which is 99% of the time, the model. You also own the IP. So there's no contract dispute about who owns the brand, who owns the content, who owns the accounts.
you are the creator, right? The creator is the agency. So there's no opportunity for legal dispute. There's just no bullshit, basically. And then obviously AI is also infinitely scalable. So you obviously have to have processes in place in order to leverage it properly, but you can run 5, 10, 50. If you have the resources, you can run 1,000 AI creators simultaneously. If you try to do that with human models, it's not gonna go well. Like it takes a long time I speak with agency owners who are running, between 60 and 100 models pretty regularly. And it's taken them years and a substantial amount of operations background and experience to build their agencies to the point where they can actually sustain that and deliver results for that number of creators. So if you're just starting out, extremely unrealistic for you to expect to be able to run 50 models effectively. But if you're just starting out with AI creators, you can probably get there, assuming that you're like a reasonably competent operator, you can probably get there within a year. So huge leverage there. And let's talk about leverage. So beyond the OnlyFans creator side, what AI tools are now reaching the point where you can compress what used to take entire teams of people into a single workflow that a single person can run. So you're eliminating so much hiring. Like if you've ever grown a business, a lot of people in here are probably solopreneurs like me, where you're running very small teams, or maybe you're just like doing it entirely on your own. AI increases your ability to do that probably like 100, maybe even 1,000x, depending on the level that you're operating at. So there's obviously the content generation piece. So you've got Nano Banana, you've got Veo 3. There's a million different AI image gen and video gen models now. So, and we'll get into the content generation piece later. That's obviously a huge upside. But I think the big headline right now, for anybody that's on Twitter, you've probably seen a bunch of stuff about OpenClaw. So tools like OpenClaw, for those of you that are not familiar, OpenClaw is basically just a local instance of an LLM that you run on a machine independently. So like, let's say I have like right now I'm running it on a MacBook. It's literally on the desk right next to me. It's just a terminal that I keep open at all times, and I can plain text just say, hey, I'd like you to do this for me, and it will do it. And it will do it extremely well. It will do it. If it doesn't know how to do it already, it will figure out how to do it. So I'm going to show you the website that hopefully this works. Let me make sure that it's actually updating in real time. Can you guys see that I just changed tabs? I just want to make sure that this is actually working. Or am I still on the presentation? Okay, no, it's working. Great. So this website has all of so this is like a landing page for my course. I'll talk more about this in a little bit. This is all of my free resources that I've ever created. All of them are housed here. You can download them for free. This is my new consulting landing page. OpenClaw built this in 10 minutes with plain text prompting. I basically just said, hey, look at my entire Notion hub. I read every single thing in my Notion hub, analyze how I write copy and try to reproduce it. And then build a fully functional website with XYZ features. So it was a long prompt. It probably took me maybe 10 minutes to type the prompt. But in that single prompt, it produced this entire fully functional website and deployed it. And it did all of that for the cost of this domain, which is $12. So again, I was explaining to the chat before everybody hopped in. Earlier this morning, every morning when I'm walking my dog, I do like a brain dump. And so I just talk into my phone for 15 to 30 minutes. I did my brain dump this morning. I uploaded the transcript. I sent the transcript via WhatsApp to OpenClaw. And by the time that I got home from my walk, it had executed everything that I wanted to do that day already, which was, in reality, for a human employee, I would have to hire 3 different people, and it would probably have taken 2 to 3 weeks, if not longer, to do everything that I asked it to do. For a lot of what I ask it to do, it would take a human employee probably more like a month. So it's very, very, very difficult to overstate how insane of a force multiplier this is. So, and this OpenClaw works for everything. You can use this to build custom software infrastructure. Like the use case that I'm talking about is relatively unsophisticated. I'm not building applications. It's a website, right? There's nothing super fancy going on here, but it's something that I need. as I get better at it, I'm probably going to get a little bit more imaginative as I understand the capabilities of the software. And I'm probably going to start building custom software, and I'm never going to have to write a single line of code to do it. So that's the level that we're at now. And I think that with some imagination, strict parameters, and good prompting, you do have to get good at prompting. You have to start understanding how to actually communicate with the machine. But if you're talking about, let's say that your struggle is like a creative workflow, you can create an AI agent that automatically and consistently generates ideas, writes scripts, and then actually produces content without writing a single line of code at a fraction of the cost of building an entire creative team. So we are now at the point where AI tools, as long as it doesn't require interacting with physical objects in the real world, AI tools can now do and build just about anything in the realm of bits with plain text inputs. So custom software purpose-built for your agency's needs, workflow optimizations, inbox management, analytics. It's an incredible like personal assistant. The sky's the limit now. So this stuff is insane. If you have not already tested out OpenClaw, you need to do it literally the second that you get off of this live stream. Arthur C. Clarke's third law is any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And this is the first time in my adult life that I have used a technology that legitimately feels like magic. So again, that's how I built that entire website in 10 minutes, like one prompt, my copywriting style, some basic vague features that I wanted, a color scheme, and then OpenClaw proceeded to design, code, and deploy this entire website for me in under 10 minutes for $12. The tools are only getting better, and the net effect is that the operator who takes the time to understand these tools can have between 10 and 1,000x the output of somebody who doesn't at a tiny, tiny fraction of the cost of hiring all of the employees or contractors or vendors, not to mention the headache of all of that. Like I spent $5,000 or something, maybe it was less than that. Maybe it was like $2,000 or $3,000 on a website a couple of years ago that looks worse than this, is less functional than this, and that I no longer use. And this is a better website that I can edit in real time with plain text inputs. That with like custom CSS, I don't have to, it's not like Squarespace where you're limited in the number of things that you can do. And this thing built it for me. I didn't have to spend any time doing it. So I'm going to take a second to drink some water and answer some questions. Would you suggest using and setting up OpenClaw on your personal working Mac, or is it better to have a separate device for it? Generally, from a security perspective, consensus seems to be that it's better to have a separate device for it. I have a separate device for it, so I wouldn't let this thing touch my Mac Studio. I will say that you can be pretty specific in the parameters that you give it and like the permissions that you give it, but if you want to play it safe, I would just buy a new computer and set this thing up on it. And then if you need to give it access to specific accounts, you can create accounts for it. And then anything that has an API, you can just give it the API key and it'll interact through the API. So again, all of that stuff. The insane thing about this is also that if you don't know how to do something, you can ask it how to do it. So if you don't know, like earlier, I think yesterday, I was trying to automate my image gen, like my thumbnail generation workflow, to produce like AI assets for videos and thumbnails for YouTube videos. And I basically, in plain text, just said, hey, OpenClaw, make 30 images with like that represent, I fed it a script. I said, find the like most emotionally impactful parts of this script that I wrote, and then create prompts for images to accentuate those points visually, and then enter those prompts into Higgsfield and generate 30 images. And it did it. It did it very quickly. I didn't have to, and it taught itself how to do that. I didn't have to explain like, hey, this is how you use Higgsfield. This is like you would with an employee. So, Brian, what am I spending a month to use it? $200. I just have a Claude Max subscription. It's literally just $200 a month. Quame 1292, what are the biggest limitations about OpenClaw? It can't interact yet. It cannot interact with software that requires, so like it can't edit video, for instance. So I can't have it like open Premiere and I can't give it instructions and say, this is how I want this long form YouTube video edited. So a lot of like tasks that still require a lot of like taste or manual inputs, it struggles with. But you can open up like an OpenClaw, and again, it'll tell you how to do this. You can open up there's a Chrome extension called like OpenClaw Relay or something like that, and it can just like manually operate web pages if it can't interact with the API for the website. So really, really, really insane stuff. Okay, on to the next benefit. AI chatting. This is a big one specifically for OFM. People have been working on AI chatbots for OF for a long time. And I think that we are finally getting close to a viable product. And this is kind of the holy grail for OFM. As soon as somebody figures out really good AI chatters that can sell effectively to all of the major consumer archetypes, so your time wasters, your transactional spenders, and your whales, we're going to see another incredibly sharp drop in overhead costs. And right now, I think the margins for OF are kind of narrowing because there's a lot more competition. Models are kind of like, if you're still doing the traditional thing, like model rev share tends to decrease over time. So if you replace the models with AI creators and you replace the chatting with AI chatters, you basically have no costs anymore. So based on what I see now and at the current rate of improvement, I think that we will have really solid AI chatting probably inside of a year, maybe even faster. So the stuff that exists today, you have plug and play software like Super Creator that's already a perfectly serviceable SDR type chatter. It's not replacing your best chatters. It's not replacing the guys that are like managing your whale accounts. It's not amazing at selling, but it can handle time wasters. It can handle transactional spenders to some extent, and it does it with a much higher level of linguistic proficiency than 90% of human chatters. So on a language and conversational basis, I think it's already better. I think it's just worse at selling currently. There's also a lot of people that are working on homebrews and custom trained models that are fine-tuned to specific creator personalities. Super Creator does that with their product, but there's obviously, like, if you want to cut out some of those costs, you would just train the model yourself. And then again, that's your two biggest expenses eliminated. All of it is getting pretty good. AI is definitely better at conversation than your average chatter. And while chatters are still better at sales, AI will very soon be able to navigate the entire sales process as adeptly as all but your most skilled salespeople. So this is something to keep an eye on. Super Creator is the biggest product right now, but there's plenty of competitors, and I can only imagine that there's going to be more. And with tools like OpenClaw, it's quite possible that people are just going to be able to build this stuff themselves within a year. So I'm going to answer one more question. We have VAs that do cold outreach on screen mirrored phones. Do you think Claude could replace them? Almost certainly. Yes, almost certainly. When you say cold outreach, I assume you mean cold outreach to models, like through social media. Yeah, that almost certainly can be automated. You would probably just feed Claude or OpenClaw the Instagram API key and let it do it, like similar to like how ManyChat works or something like that. So bottom line on upside, like to recap all of the benefits, if you're a competent operator who understands these concepts, who can conceptualize these benefits, and you can learn to apply these tools quickly, I truly think that even if you're totally brand new, I truly believe that you can reasonably make a healthy 6 figures in profit in year 1 of implementation. And if you're really sharp and focused, you can do $1 million or more. The huge caveat to all of that is that none of the additional leverage from AI matters if the marketing piece of your business isn't functional. Because OFM is still fundamentally a digital marketing business. And no matter how good your operational backend is, and no matter what kind of marketing you're doing, the universal constant is that creative is king. AI is not that good at creative yet, and I'm gonna talk about like why what the current use cases for AI creative are, and maybe a little bit about the future. So, if you're new to marketing, creative in this context just means the actual content, the customer-facing content that you're producing. So typically that's going to be pictures, video, and then ad copy or captions for organic, social, or paid ads. So first thing, a lot of people very, very commonly ask question, people ask me how I feel about AI slop. And my response to that is that however much I hate AI-generated slop, I hate human-generated slop 10 times more, because it means somebody took time out of their day to make unwatchable dog shit. Anybody who's watched my content, anybody who's followed me for a while knows I hate, if there's one thing I hate, it's shit content. So all of the rules of normal creative also apply to AI creative. Good content is good content, bad content is bad content. And most OFMs and creators are just bad at marketing in general, and they're even worse at organic social. So before I get into the AI stuff, there's two important trends that you need to recognize in social media writ large. The first is the trend towards interest-based media, which I think could be accurately described as a trend towards personalization. And this little like 4chan green text thing sums it up very nicely. For anybody that's just listening right now, the text is, before the internet, I don't want to fuck toasters. Don't be a fucking retard. Before internet, I want to fuck toasters. Don't be a fucking retard. Grow up. After internet, I want to fuck a toaster. Google. Find a community with 1,000+ members about people wanting to fuck toasters. Fuck up your life. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that there are increasingly niche like subcultures and groups of like interest-based groups, and social media is now optimized towards serving those groups. And it's only going to continue to get more personalized. So as interests get more niche, increasingly, the easiest, fastest, and most lucrative way to approach social media is to develop a monopoly on a small to medium-sized niche rather than the old method, which is to try to appeal to a broad audience and basically make like thirst trap, low-effort type content that's broadly appealing to horny men. There's a good reason that stuff doesn't work anymore, and it's because the social media paradigm has completely inverted from a few years ago. So it's very, very important that you adapt to this. I'm actually going to be dropping an entire video about the history of social soon and like why going into a lot more detail about why this is happening. But I also think like just from a broad strokes perspective, like it's very obvious that this is happening if you look at what social media looks like relative to what it looked like even like 2 or 3 years ago. And if you think about it for more than 5 seconds. The second big trend is accessibility for creators. So it's becoming way, way easier for quote unquote normal people to achieve like legitimate celebrity status and mainstream awareness. If you look at the most popular media figures in the world right now, it's not necessarily like A-list Hollywood actors. It's just normal guys that know how to entertain. You have like Kai Cenat, IShowSpeed. These are not like, there's nothing particularly special about these guys other than the fact that they have a platform and they're good at entertaining people in real time. And naturally what this means is that there's more competition because everyone wants to be an influencer. Basically, anybody with an iPhone can be an influencer, can become an influencer, and the technical barrier to entry for the foundational skills of influencing or like just content creation, like video editing, are non-existent. So it's easier to do it than ever before, and that means that if you want to have any leverage on these platforms, you have to provide value to the audience. And the best way to do that is to create content that people actually enjoy watching. So what AI creative changes is that it's way easier and cheaper to produce. You don't need to buy props. You don't need cameras. You don't need lights for your models. You don't need to rent shoot locations. With AI content, it costs the same to wingsuit through the Grand Canyon or like do a backflip off of the Eiffel Tower as it does to do like a normal talking head video in your room. So 2 implications here. The first is that you need to raise the bar for creative. Once you get good at prompting, you can do almost anything with consistent characters across generations. And the reality is that like content is necessarily as a consequence of that going to become more exciting, because why would I want to watch an AI influencer just talk in like a flat monotone in a sterile white-walled office when she could be delivering the same lines on a motorcycle or jumping off of a building or something? So what that means for quote unquote real creators is that you're now competing with, you have like a sort of an impossible standard of quality to meet in terms of what can be like the types of creative that can be produced. And so you need to be laser focused on being really, really appealing to your audience. The second implication of this is that as much content as there is right now, there is going to be hundreds, maybe even thousands of times more content very soon because everyone can produce it. And this is where the concept of the attention economy becomes very important. I think that people tend to forget that attention is a resource, right? And when the getting was good in 2019 to 2024, when OFM was really, really easy, a large part of the reason that it was easy is because everyone had infinite attention. Everybody was sitting alone in their rooms, jacking off all day, getting like stimulus checks and PPP loans. So now that's not the case anymore. There's a finite amount of attention available, and you have to actually earn people's attention. So the bar for like good enough content is rising very quickly because the overall volume of content, and especially of bad content, is also rising very quickly. So I think this is going to be net negative. Specifically, it's going to hurt everyone in the space who is not laser focused on producing actual good creative and understanding what it means to produce good creative at whatever scale that they're operating at. A 7 out of 10 reel yesterday is a 3 out of 10 reel tomorrow. And 3 out of 10 reels have no chance in a media landscape where there's going to be a trillion pieces of content getting published every day. So the bar is going to get higher. There's going to be a lot more slop content, and anybody that is still producing slop content within the next 12 to 24 months, you're going to get absolutely fucking buried. I've been saying this for a long time now. AI is only accelerating this trend. But this is a trend that I do want to make it really clear. AI is speeding up the curve. It's raising the bar faster. But this is a trend that was already in place and has been very well established in the history of all visual media. Again, I wrote a whole script about this, so I'm going to save some of that for the actual long-form video that I produced. But suffice it to say that like these are real trends that are observable throughout the history of all kinds of media. And you don't need to be a rocket scientist to see that people over time, as a particular like entertainment media becomes more popular, people develop a sense of taste and their preferences become more sophisticated. So, sorry, I meant to go to that slide earlier, I think. Nope, sorry. So the question now becomes, how do you adapt to this environment? And this is the reason that all of my content is about organic social and specifically how to produce genuinely good creative, because it's existential at this point. People have been seeing massive drop-offs in social performance for over a year now, and they have still not figured out that it is because, the same content that was going viral for people between 2019 and 2024 is unwatchable now. It's bad. People don't want to watch their 11,000th thirst trap. And this is true even for the creators that like built their following on this content. I've talked about it in a few, but I've like mathed it out on a few streams and in one of my videos. Even like Sophie Rain, 8.5 million followers, 95 million net earnings in OnlyFans. If you look at her actual social media performance on Instagram, it's dog shit. The number of impressions and views that she gets on a relative basis to her followership is what you would expect from like a low tier creator who has no idea what they're doing. Now, that's mitigated by the fact that she has 8.5 million followers. So even a dog shit piece of content that only 20% of her audience sees is still reaching over 1 million people. But you have to think in terms of ratios. Her overall performance pound for pound is down. And if Sophie Rain is not successful with like making thirst traps and trending audio content anymore, you are absolutely not going to be. No creator is going to be successful with that blueprint ever again. So you just need to get it out of your head that it's even a possibility. So I've been trying to preach this gospel in my free content. I'm shill incoming, just FYI. But I have been working extremely hard to present all of these ideas in a concrete, sequential, actionable way, which is why I am working on an OnlyFans marketing course. So in order to make that course as valuable as possible, I'm going to make a quick ask here. It's not really even technically an advertisement, I promise. I want your feedback on the content. And so I'm opening applications for early access to the course. Every week, I'm going to have 2 private live sessions where I present a lesson from the course. And then at the end of each session, participants are going to be able to ask questions, provide feedback, make suggestions on topics that they might like included in the final product. And then on top of that, every person in the early access group is also going to get a full version of the course upon release at no additional cost, plus access to an exclusive Telegram community for OnlyFans marketers. So if you're interested in that, it's the first link in the description. It's just my website, facelessfrancis.com. You can apply there if you're interested. I'm going to be handpicking 35 applicants from the group of applicants that apply to get kind of a broad range of perspectives and experience levels. So if you're interested in beta testing and being part of that process and like joining the live streams and kind of building a community around OnlyFans marketing, fill out the application. If not, just keep watching, enjoy my free content, no worries. Chilling time over. Okay, back to value. So now I'm going to talk about in what ways AI is bad for OnlyFans. So I think that on the net, if I were to frame this like in a TLDR fashion, it would be that AI is extremely good for OnlyFans in the short to medium term. So like, let's say next 12 to 36, maybe let's say 12 to 24 months and be conservative because things are changing quite quickly. I think long term, AI is very bad for OnlyFans. I think it's an existential threat. And the reason that I think AI is bad for OnlyFans management, and the fan page industry in general, is that the future of sex tech is not fan pages. So we're going to set aside AI for a second here. I want you guys to stop. If you've never done this, we're going to do a little thought exercise. Think about the customer experience of OnlyFans or of any of the average fan sites. So we have a user, let's call him Jeff, and Jeff sees a model that he thinks is hot on social media. So Jeff follows her, and we can skip ahead past the part where he watches a bunch of her reels and develops a parasocial connection, some kind of sexual desire for the model, and we'll just skip straight to the part where he subscribes to her OnlyFans, which is going to be a very, very small percentage of people, by the way. So now let's assume that Jeff is new to OnlyFans. He's not an existing OnlyFans user. He has to create an account. He has to put in his credit card info. He has to do ID verification. There's tons of friction, and every step that he takes decreases the likelihood that he goes through with it and decides to just use Pornhub to gratify himself instead. So Jeff finally pays the subscription price, and he has no idea what he's doing or what's happening. He's never been on the platform before. He sees a welcome message that says he has to pay $45 to see what's in the welcome message. So he's confused. He's already paid to get in. Now he has to spend more. And then a chatter follows up on the welcome message and tries to, says hi, and then tries to push Jeff into buying more content while pretending to be interested in. So Jeff is very disoriented at this point. He just wanted to see a girl naked. That's all. He just wanted to see a girl naked and jack off. But in for a penny, in for a pound. He already paid the sub price, so there's a bit of sunk cost there. And let's say that Jeff decides to pay for a PPV. And then he opens the PPV, and it's like lingerie photos. No nudes. So now he's pissed. He spent $50 in total. He's gotten absolutely none of what he came for. Dogs are freaking out. One moment. Sorry about that. Okay. So again, Jeff just paid for the PPV. He gets some lingerie photos. He's pissed off. He spent $50. And the chatter is now pushing him to spend more. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. We're going to move on from Jeff. The point is that the entire experience is absolutely fucking awful for the customer. OnlyFans is a terrible customer experience. It's a bad product. Like, if we're completely honest with ourselves, if we're looking at it from the customer perspective, as we should be as marketers, that's our job. OnlyFans is a really profoundly awful product. It's predatory. It's fraudulent. So the thing that OnlyFans is competing with, my basic take on business is that, like, anything that relies on deceiving the consumer in order for them to keep spending is like a fundamentally untenable business model. I think that OnlyFans realizes that. That's why they're trying to sell. And I think that the future of this industry is going to be relatively short-lived. All that said, there's still a fuck ton of money to be made in the short to medium term. I know that this is something that probably not a lot of people in this chat want to hear, but it is important to recognize that the fan page industry is not going to be long for this world, and that better products are coming. So what are the better products? The biggest threat, I think, is going to be AI erotic companion sites. I think that this is going to completely eat the market for transactional buyers. And what I mean by that, actually, I'll start off by saying, if you're not familiar with these products, check out secretdesires.ai, check out candy.ai. These are so much better than OnlyFans from a customer experience perspective. And I think that once these websites, once these platforms figure out the marketing piece, it's basically game over for fan sites in general. So if you're not familiar with these platforms, premise is very simple. It's a chatbot, but you have thousands of characters to chat with. And it's usually like a mix of user-generated and platform-generated characters. You subscribe for a flat monthly or annual fee. That fee gives you access to all of the characters. So it's kind of like if you subscribe to OnlyFans as a platform and you got access to every single model's page, right? So right off the bat, you get way more selection, you get way more novelty, you have way more options. And then on top of that, you can spend credits. So there's the base platform fee, and then you just buy credits to generate images or videos of those characters, kind of like you just interact with any other AI tool that generates stuff. So And there is a character on all of these websites. There's a character for literally every preference you can possibly imagine. If you're into petite goth girls, or you're into furries, or you're into 6,000-year-old eldritch abominations, or tentacled aliens, you can create characters from your favorite video game franchise. You can create characters in your imagination. If you're so unbelievably depraved that the thing that you like doesn't already exist, you can just make it for yourself, and it can have whatever appearance and whatever personality and do whatever you want. The characters are always available. They respond instantly. So there's no wait time. There's no friction. I think we've all run into the issue with chatters where it's like you're chatting with a whale and you're taking 3 to 5 minutes to respond because there's a bunch of people. And you just get like the customers lose interest because they're sitting there with their dick in their hand waiting for 3 to 5 minutes. It's a long time to be sitting there with your dick in your hand. So, and then on top of all of that, all of these characters are totally personalized. They respond to emotion. They respond to context. You can tell them, it doesn't have to be sexual, right? You can tell them about the hard day that you had at work, or you can have them tie you to a radiator and beat you with jumper cables until you come. Doesn't matter. Whatever you want. So, and then the last piece of this is on the image gen and video gen side, you can also you can make the thing do whatever it is that you want. You can create any image that you want. You can adjust their physical features. You can put them in different, literally whatever you want to do, whatever. Let your imagination run wild. You can do it. On top of all of this, it's way cheaper than OnlyFans. And you know exactly what you're getting because you have complete control start to finish over the entire experience. So, I think when I start talking about this stuff, I think one of the biggest objections that I get is I think a lot of OFMs, they want to put their head in the sand because there's an assumption that there's always going to be demand for the fantasy of intimacy with quote unquote real girls. But the thing is, our product, as I mentioned earlier, is totally fraudulent in that regard anyway, because all of the comms are just done by chatters. So you're not talking to the 19-year-old yoga instructor. You're talking to a 30-year-old Pakistani guy, right? And as that's widely becoming public knowledge. So as that knowledge on the consumer side increases, it basically clues the customer in, even if it doesn't make them leave outright. Like, I think a lot of us are like, we understand that there's some willing delusion on the customer side, but like, why would I, as a consumer of the OnlyFans experience, if I know that I'm like not actually talking to the person that I think I'm talking to, when a relationship is happening through a screen, an AI is just as real as a flesh and blood girl. The whole experience is intermediated by your computer, right? So it's like, if I'm talking into my computer, I might as well be talking to a computer. It doesn't matter to me if it's a real girl. I'm never going to fuck her anyway, right? So my prediction is that these AI companion products are going to eat up the transactional buyers first. So these are the guys who are on OnlyFans purely for sexual content, not for the parasocial relationship with a specific creator. So I think the whales are going to stick around the longest. But as these erotic companion products get better, and as we get closer to true AI companions, and eventually we're going to have fully embodied like companion and sex robots, that's a real thing that's going to happen eventually. We're not quite there yet, but like when that happens, when that transition occurs, virtually all previous forms of porn are just going to become obsolete. For the same reason and in the same way that social media is changing. We're moving towards a more personalized world. So why would I consume a product if you have an OnlyFans creator that has 5,000 paid subscribers, why would I consume a product that's made for 5,000 people or that's made to appeal to 1 million people when I could consume a product that is made for me and only me? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. That's the direction that all consumer products are moving towards. And AI is increasing the rate at which that becomes possible, of like truly personalized products, truly personalized media experiences. Really quick, everybody who's in the stream, if you would please hit the like button. I only have 1 like right now, and it's making me really sad. So the other big threat is that OnlyFans is to OnlyFans itself, not necessarily the fan page industry, but to OnlyFans itself. There's platforms that are now competing with OnlyFans and starting to consume market share. So big problem with OnlyFans as a product, besides the customer experience, it's also not great as a business owner. Like the B2B product of OnlyFans sucks. OnlyFans doesn't develop for the people that actually produce a majority of their revenue, aka us, agency owners. So that's why there's so much proprietary software that's built specifically for OnlyFans. And now other platforms are starting to fill that gap. So there's platforms like FanView and Room11 that are now being built specifically with agencies and with AI influencers in mind. Again, back to we're talking about AI here. On OnlyFans, you still need to associate a model's identity with the page, meaning that there's a human in the loop, meaning that there's still ID verification that's required. It's a very cumbersome process. It's not the most difficult thing in the world, but it's an additional layer of friction. And usually, if you're, let's say you have like some Colombian salary model and you're using her ID to create the account, you still got to pay her, right? Versus these other platforms like FanView and Room11, you can have a pure AI creator. There's no IDV process required. And then also the rev share agreement. So like Room11 offers 10% rev share as opposed to the OnlyFans 20% haircut. And you can import your entire OnlyFans content library in 3 clicks, and they have in-platform video gen. So like these AI specific platforms are also going to start eating market share from OnlyFans. I don't think that they're going to be the last men standing. I think that the AI erotic companion platforms are still a much better product. But even in the short to medium term, these other platforms are going to start coming in and eating some of OnlyFans' lunch. And as AI influencers grow in popularity, we're already seeing that trend. The platforms that develop features specifically to attract agencies, to attract power users, are going to drain market share from OnlyFans necessarily. So, last part of the presentation, what should you do about it? We have all this information. What actions can we actually take to insulate ourselves from any potential fallout and to take maximum advantage of these AI tools while the getting is good? So, first thing, you need to experiment with AI creative now, today. If you are going to incorporate AI content creation, do it today. Don't wait any longer. Don't put it off anymore. Like, I know that you're a business owner. You have a million things going on. Believe me when I tell you that once you start learning how to use these tools, that your to-do list is going to start clearing very, very quickly. And that's not just true of the AI content creation tools. That's more true on the force multiplier side of things, like tools like OpenClaw. OpenClaw did like 2 months worth of work for me in 2 days. These tools are absolutely insane, and they only get better as you continue to improve, like understanding how to use them. So, yeah, don't wait. The learning curve is real. It's not the hardest thing in the world, but like it takes time to learn how to use a new tool. But the window of opportunity is open now. You don't want to wait on this stuff. If you're just getting into AI and you have like real models, start with hybrids, start with face swap stuff. The barrier to entry is a little bit lower. Use platforms like Higgsfield. If you're not familiar with Higgsfield, just go Google it after the live stream. It's like the easiest to use, most widely used AI image and video gen platform because it has all of the models on it, and it has tools specifically for influencers that are really easy to use. So hopefully I'm putting you on some game there if you're not familiar. And then, yeah, just allocate some of your time to understanding this stuff. It's very, very important. AI is real. Like, there's a lot of people that are like, this stuff is all overblown, super, super hype. It's not overhyped. This is game-changing stuff. The second is diversify your platform exposure. So experiment with some other platforms to transition to. OnlyFans is not going to be the dominant platform forever, especially as these AI companion sites grow. So if you get into AI influencers, also diversify platforms. Check out Fansly, check out FanView, check out Room11. All of these are emerging platforms that are supportive of AI creators specifically. And then also build your own distro. If you're like me, where you have non-management or non-agency products, build your own distribution networks. Don't rely on social media completely. And I think also that, like, in general, the whale experience, so like the girlfriend experience, is always going to be desirable in some capacity. And there will always be niche demand for that from quote unquote real girls, real creators. And so being able to monetize directly from a customer through something like Telegram, as opposed to like these bigger platforms that take a huge haircut, might be advantageous. The last thing, most important thing, learn organic social properly. Actually understand what it means to make good creative. The agencies that survive the AI wave are going to be the people who understand brand, that understand personality, that are actually thinking about audience psychology. They're not just focused on becoming content production engines and making as much dog shit as possible. AI, it makes this cheaper, right? But you still have to have strategy. You still have to have taste. You still have to understand how to build a brand to have any kind of success with AI creative. Just because you can make more doesn't mean you can make it better. The better part comes from you. You have to understand how to make good creative. And again, not coincidentally, this is exactly what I'm teaching in all of my free content and then my organic social masterclass. So I won't shill it again, but if you are interested in applying for early access to my course, this is going to be the most comprehensive course for OnlyFans marketing, period. It's for everybody. If you're a huge agency that needs like training tools or like wants to standardize creative process or something like that, this is going to be great for you. And if you're totally new, I start from account creation. So if you're a complete newbie, if you're an independent creator, if you're a zero, this will still be valuable for you. How I want to close is AI going to kill OnlyFans management? In the long term, yes. In the short to medium term, it's going to kill the version of it that most people are currently doing. The low effort, copy paste, spray and pray approach is already completely non-functional for new market entrants. So if you want to have a future in this industry, you have a relatively short window of time to do two things. You need to learn how to leverage AI in a way that makes sense for your organization. And then you need to get really fucking good at building brands and making good content so that you can survive the slop tsunami. Again, if you're interested in my marketing course, go to facelessfrancis.com. That's the last thing I'll say about that. If you want a more tailored approach for a single creator, you can hire me one-on-one for consulting. I only take on 3 clients a month. I think I'm actually full for February, but I do have openings in March. What I do is I build a full go-to-market strategy, including brand, including content formats, tons of research, competitive analysis. That's going to be the second link in the description. And then if you just want to join a helpful, free OFM marketing community, the third link in the description is my Telegram community. So I am now going to open the floor to questions. Let me open up the chat. All right, let's see what we got. Do I have any methods on how to make really good prompts for creative? It starts with good ideas, but prompting, the nice thing about prompting these days is that the machines are really good at talking to the other machines. So you can generate prompts in, let's say, like if you want to prompt better, go into ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever LLM you use daily and ask it, hey, how would I create, like, what's the best way to prompt this specific image model for this specific output that I want? And it'll tell you. Are you an East Coast guy or West Coast? I'm not going to answer that. How much life experience are you above 30? I am above 30, sadly. I'm tragically old. Francis, I've started an agency with 2 of my friends. We set everything up so far for our business, but there's one thing we're struggling with a lot. That is getting girls. Cold approach isn't working. It sounds like you're asking for like pickup artist advice. I would say number one best way to, the best lead is an inbound lead. So it's going to take, if you're just starting, you're not going to have like the opportunity or the leverage to build a personal brand. So that's probably not really an option for you. But my general suggestion for people that are just starting out is start local. Start with models that you can actually work with in person, and that you can like help create content and so on. That's a huge leverage point for new agencies that not a lot of people offer. So yeah, try to stay local, and use local recruitment tools. I'll leave it up to your imagination what those might be. Afraid 8764. Hey, just joined late. Would you guess at some point people move away from pretending to be a real human and with an AI model to openly admitting it? Yeah, it's already happening. I had a conversation with somebody who runs a huge, somebody who's running one of these like up and coming new platforms. He says that the most popular creators on the platform are the ones that are very obviously AI, that don't shy away from the fact that they're AI. And then the AI companion platforms literally have, like, they're called candy.ai, secretdesires.ai. People know that they're talking with bots. They don't care. And in many ways, it's preferable. Somebody, I don't know if he's in the chat right now, he's somebody in the Telegram community. He said something really funny that I think that was like really made it click for me, which is that people already preferentially consume hentai. Like, there's guys who just only watch hentai. Obviously that's not real, but it's like it's a huge market, and a lot of people have an overwhelming preference for 2D girls. So AI is just like hentai on crack. It's just way better than that product of the still image. So if you think about it in those terms, like, yes, obviously there's going to be huge swaths of people who consume digital intimacy products who are going to be into AI creators that are unashamed of the fact that they're AI creators. Francis, should I fill again the form for the early access? I see it changed a bit. The only thing that changed is that I added a column or a question for Telegram handle. So if you want to refill it and include your Telegram handle, that would be great. I do have a slight fear that like emails aren't going to be delivered or something. I've had some email deliverability nightmares. So if you want to make 100% sure that you get that invite, you can go ahead and refill out the form and just add your Telegram handle, and I'll reach out to you on Telegram when I accept applications. What are my thoughts on full AI models, Magnus 838? Well, I talked about it pretty extensively during the presentation, but I would say they're great. Like the limit, the throughput limitation on how far you can go with AI creators is how good you are at producing creative and producing content. So if you understand the principles of creating good content, which is pretty much all I talk about in my content, all of the rules for like high quality creative for quote unquote real creators applies exactly the same one-to-one to AI. The only difference is that with AI, it costs nothing to produce. So realistically, like you should be able to produce a better product with assuming that you're sufficiently creative, you should be able to produce a better product with AI than you can with a quote unquote real model, unless you have like an extremely talented model, which is obviously quite rare. So it's just about transferring the feeling of like a virtual girlfriend. Yeah, basically. And I mean, like, think beyond virtual girlfriend. Like that's even a really narrow spectrum of experience. Think like virtual whatever you want, virtual mommy, virtual therapist, virtual, girl next door, virtual submissive, virtual dominant, virtual whatever you can imagine, right? So that's the future that we're looking down the barrel of, which is again why I think that like OnlyFans is so, when you think about it in those terms of like the possibilities of one of the biggest drivers of human sexual behavior in men especially is novelty, right? Novelty is one of these like fundamental preferences. It's why like men cheat. It's why there's like such a wide variety of pornography. One of the biggest dopamine trigger is experiencing something new and enjoying it for the first time. And what these AI erotic companion platforms offer is infinite novelty. You can develop, you can go down like preferential rabbit holes that you could never have even imagined existed. So OnlyFans in comparison is like, you have a girl. There's a limited range of things that girl will do. Most of the time, the girl that you like or that you subscribe to on OnlyFans doesn't do the thing that you want that girl to do. Bad product market fit, bad for the consumer. And again, in large part, the only reason that these products are used today is because like the alternatives are not much better. There are better alternatives coming, and they're coming very quickly. Any other questions? I'm going to answer questions for 6 more minutes before I end the stream. So if you've got them, ask them now. Let me make sure I didn't miss any from earlier. What's up? I'd like to ask if anyone has a solution or advertising service to suggest to help me get me more traffic to my OF models. The best solution to getting more traffic to your OnlyFans models is going to be to get better at organic social media. You should definitely watch some of the other videos on my channel. Let's see. What do you suggest using in setting up open? Nope, I answered that one already. Let's see. We got 24 people in the chat. If anybody has questions, feel free to ask. Now's the time. You've got me for 5 more minutes. And then I am going to end ye old live stream. You guys are talking about NSFW production. I'm not familiar with NSFW production. It looks like Afraid 8764 had some ideas on that front. The issue I see is that NSFW production is still limited to a certain degree because there's not enough training material. What's your take on that? The availability and accessibility of those tools is only going to increase. So the major like AI erotic companion sites usually use like a custom comfy UI deployment. And like it's a little bit difficult right now. It's clunky. That's only going to get better, right? So, and also I think the idea that there's not enough training material is a little bit silly. I do think that you see a greater degree of image-based hallucination with the NSFW models, but I think that's largely a product of they're using less sophisticated models because like the cutting edge developers are not working on adult content. I don't think it's a training material problem. But yeah, that's my take, is that NSFW content production is only going to get easier and better. And yeah, I guess that's it. How do you go about branding / content styles for a very basic girl with little interest in no standout physical features, real content, not AI? I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, Chief. You drop the model and find a good one. No, I mean, I get that that's a very real problem. I think truthfully the answer is that like you can't invest in those creators anymore. It's not going to work. It's never going to work. Just dump her and use an AI model instead. Like if you're going to have a boring ass model that's not interesting and not particularly good looking, and isn't like fun to watch on camera and like doesn't interact well, I don't know. You know, there's nothing you can really do, unfortunately. I've spent the last 4 years like trying to find the answer to that. The only solution that I've sort of arrived at is if it's an option, you can put someone interesting in the content. So without giving too much away, a consulting client recently, we had a kind of a similar problem where the model is like doesn't have great camera presence, like not particularly interesting. And so what we did is I developed a brand strategy for that model that we like created a fake like brother character. And so now the content is like she goes on adventures with her brother and there's like some sibling rivalry type tension. But the brother character, the guy who plays the brother character is really, really funny and charismatic and great on camera. And so that elevates the content. The problem is that like obviously becomes, it's more difficult to produce because you're now directing 2 people. You have to write content for 2 people. The scripts become more sophisticated. It's tough. So it's a good question. It's a very good question. Unfortunately, the answer is just like it's probably better to invest resources elsewhere. Yeah, living away solo. Sorry, bro. Yeah, that's my best piece of advice for you. The problem is that people want to watch content that they actually want to watch. So just like being boring, bland, uninteresting, undifferentiated, it's not going to cut it anymore. It's really, really, really hard to build brands for those types of people. It's why I don't do it anymore. I turn down people for my consulting service all the time. They're like, I'll pay the money, but here's the creator. And I'll look at the creator and I'll be like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Like my consulting services are not cheap. I'm turning down in some cases like almost $10,000. But it's like if I don't feel like I can help you, I won't try. And that's the exact type of creator where it's just like they're perfectly content to just be on camera and like be uninteresting and have like there's nothing I can do with that, unfortunately. Joshua 4545, did the red pill movement hurt or help society? Interesting question. Did the red pill movement, I think it's probably net good in terms of like increasing understanding of female, let's call it like the biological nature of human female writ large. But I think that it became a little bit vitriolic, and like one of the things that you need to understand is that like obviously men and women are extraordinarily different creatures. They have different psychologies. Like fundamentally they're almost different species in some ways. But I think that the red pill movement teaches people to hate women because of that. And the reality is that like it's just something that you need to contend with and understand how to like manage effectively in order to like successfully engage with the world and have children and build a family and all that fun stuff. And I think the red pill movement is just like women suck because they're different than men. It's like, well, actually, women are just different to deal with than men. So with Instagram Reels, what do you find is important to make them go viral? I think this is the last question that I'm going to answer. Virality is no longer the most important metric for Instagram Reels or for content in general. You need to think about reaching a specific target audience. How can I best reach a specific target audience? That's the question that you really need to care about, less than virality. Virality is not as important as it used to be. Your goal as a marketer now is not how can I get as many people as possible to see my model? It's how can I get the exact people that are interested in my model to see my model? So if your total addressable market for a model, if a model's in like a tiny micro niche, maybe there's only like 100,000 people in the world that are interested in like the thing that your model does. But if you can get all 100,000 of them, you're going to make $1 million with that model. So that's how I would think about it. Not virality, but like specificity of interest. And then how can you make her as popular as possible within her specific niche or field of interest? What do you think about getting flowers through Our followers through buying promos. Yeah. So Lucas Borek, that's technically I'll answer your question insofar as I do not know how to answer your question. I don't have any thoughts on buying promo. I only care about organic social, and I've only ever done organic social. So never used meme pages, never driven traffic to models from paid advertising sources or anything like that. Afraid 8764, after the stream, after I drop off, which I'm about to do, you will be able to watch the recorded live stream. You just need to go to my YouTube channel and go to the live tab, and you'll be able to watch the whole thing in its entirety. Thank you for everybody who came. Thank you for everybody who asked questions. I hope you guys got a lot of value out of this. And I